Hey there, this is a quick demo to show how we can use FastMCP with the Keycloak Identity Access Management Server. So as a quick intro, FastMCP is a Python package that helps you build MCP servers in Python and makes it easy, in particular, to add things like OAuth flows. Keycloak is an open source identity access management system where you can create users, groups, set roles, all those sorts of things so that you can add an auth layer on top of your applications that is OAuth compliant. So we have a demo that shows making a FastMCP server that uses Keycloak as the auth layer for the MCP server so that everybody who's using the MCP server is logged in with their Keycloak account. So here I've got it installed in VS Code, and this is my mcp.json. So here I'm pointing at the deployed version of this server. It's deployed to Azure Container Apps. And I'll just say start on here. Now you see what pops up is it says it wants to authenticate. So this is VS Code seeing that this server is actually returning back a 401. And that means that it knows it needs to authenticate. So it's going to try and go through the OAuth authentication flow. So I'm going to say allow and open the website. And it's wanting me to log into the Keycloak server. So I'm going to log in using a test account. So here I'm logging in, and that goes back and completes the flow. So now we are back in VS Code. So now VS Code should be able to get an OAuth access token for that server. So now let's go over to GitHub Copilot. And here you can see I've got the server enabled. And we can see there are two tools. I can either add an expense for the currently logged in user, me, or I can get the logged in user's expensive. So I'll say, okay, that tool is enabled. Now I'm going to say like, okay, I bought $67 worth of bouncy balls on the Amex today. All right, now the model is looking at the available MCP servers. It sees that indeed there's a tool that can be used for this instruction here, and it suggests the arguments it's going to send to the tool. I'll say allow. So this should be going to the server that is deployed here, and it says it was successful. So now let's see, list all my personal user expenses. So hopefully this time it's going to call the next tool. This doesn't require any arguments. It's just going to check to see who's logged in and get back all the expenses for this user. And you can see that indeed earlier today I bought more bouncy balls. So I've got 2 expenses for those bouncy balls. You can see how many times I've tested today. So that worked. Now you might be wondering, how did that work? Well, you can see all the code in this Python file, and all the infrastructure is set up in infrastructure as code files as well. But basically, we're bringing in the FastMCP package here. We've written our own Keycloak Auth provider on top of the FastMCP base auth provider class, just to wrap on top of the Keycloak implementation, just to fix a couple open issues with Keycloak right now. So we've got all that code available here. But basically, we set up that auth provider and say like, okay, this is the URL for our Keycloak. These are the scopes. Here's the audience. We've got this middleware here that we use just to grab the current access token using this get access token from FastMCP and get the subclaim from there. And the subclaim is basically the user's ID. And so then we set that user ID in the state so that then all of the tools can have access to this user ID, making it easy for them to use the user ID with database calls. So then we create the FastMCP server using that auth provider and adding in that user auth middleware as well. So then if you look at the add user expense function, it will try to get the user ID from the state, and that was set by the middleware, and it uses that when it's storing it in the database. So if we go over to the database, this is a Cosmos DB database. You can see here that the user ID gets set to this value here. And if we look at the users, oh, it just logged me out. Let me go ahead. That's because I did that other login with the non-admin account. So I'm just going to grab my super secure password here. All right. And if we look at the MCP realm and at the user, we see this ID here. So notice that this ID matches the user ID in this. So we can see that it successfully got the right claim out of the token and used that inside the database. So then in the second function, get user expensive, it gets that user ID from the state, which is based off the access token claims, and then it can query that database to just filter by the user ID. So there you go. That is how you can build a FastMCP server with Keycloak as the auth layer, and and be able to store user-dependent data. Hope that helps. Bye, everyone.